Section 1700 Grounding of Services. 1701 General. The purpose of this section is to summarize practical methods of grounding from the National Electrical Code, NEC, and the National Electrical Safety Code, NESC, as one of the means of safeguarding employees and the public from injury that may be caused by electrical potential. Note 1. Sound engineering standards and policies developed by CPS Energy along with the National Electric Safety Code, NESC, are used for grounding and bonding the electric distribution system by CPS Energy. Note 2. CPS Energy shall make all grounding and bonding connections on supply facilities under the exclusive control of CPS Energy unless otherwise specified by CPS Energy. 1702 Services supplied by CPS Energy. Each service supplied by CPS Energy shall be grounded and connected to earth by customer in accordance with the provisions of the NEC and other applicable codes. The connection to earth shall be in a manner that will limit the voltage imposed by lightning, line surges or unintentional contact with higher voltage lines and that will stabilize the voltage to earth during normal operation. Note. For the purpose of this section, where a main disconnect is installed ahead of grouped CPS Energy meters, the customer disconnects on the load side of meters shall be considered service disconnects and the conductors supplying them shall be considered service conductors. 1703 Grounded, neutral, conductor brought to service equipment. Where an AC system operates at less than 1000 volts and is supplied by CPS Energy as a grounded system, the grounded conductor shall be run to each service disconnecting means. The grounded conductor shall be connected to each service disconnecting means grounded conductor terminal or bus. A main bonding jumper shall connect the grounded conductor to the service disconnecting means enclosure. 1704 Grounding electrode system. As part of the grounding electrode system, a ground rod electrode shall be furnished and installed by customer at each service location. This ground rod electrode shall be in addition to other electrodes that are required to be used to comprise the grounding electrode system. The grounding electrodes and grounding electrode system shall be installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes including the provisions herein, refer to Figure 1701. Note. CPS Energy does not permit bonding or grounding connections of any kind to line-side gas piping of gas meters. 1704 1 Ground rod electrodes. Ground rods shall be 5/8 inches by 8 feet and consist of a steel core with a molten welded exterior layer of pure copper. CPS Energy does not permit the use of aluminum electrodes or electrodes made of pipe or conduit. Rods shall be driven vertically their entire length. Where encountering rock, ground rods may be driven at an angle of 45 degrees from the vertical or shall be buried in a trench that is not less than 30 inches deep, refer to Figure 1701. 1704 2 Grounding electrode conductor. The NEC and other applicable codes shall determine the size of the grounding electrode conductor, but in no case shall it be smaller than number 8 AWG copper. The grounding electrode conductor shall be in accordance with 1 through 3 below. 1. Conductor shall be copper, aluminum or copper-clad wire is not acceptable. 2. Bare copper grounding electrode conductors shall not be in aluminum conduit unless suitably coated or plated to resist corrosion. 3. Grounding electrode conductors shall be protected where subjected to physical damage in accordance with the NEC. A. Attachment to electrode. The grounding electrode conductor shall be attached to the ground rod electrode by means of an approved high-strength corrosion-resistant copper alloy clamp. Water pipe-type clamps shall not be used on ground rod electrodes. Metal raceways for grounding electrode conductors shall be electrically continuous from the point of attachment to cabinets or equipment without splice or joint to the grounding electrode, and shall be securely fastened, or bonded, to the ground clamp or fitting as per NEC. B. Attachment to service equipment. Customer's grounding electrode conductor may be connected to the grounded conductor of the wiring system at any convenient point on the supply side of their service disconnecting means, except it shall not be terminated in or routed through meter sockets, meter disconnects or CT enclosures. Where a main disconnect is installed ahead of group meters, the connection to the grounding electrode conductor shall be made in that device. Where no main disconnect is required, the connection may be made within an auxiliary wire or step bus gutter. 1705 Customers' equipment grounding conductor. Customers' equipment grounding conductors shall be sized and installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes. Equipment grounding conductors shall not be terminated or routed through meter sockets, meter enclosures, meter disconnects, instrument transformer enclosures or CPS energy transformers. Exception: photovoltaic, PV, meter sockets on load side of customer's service equipment may have equipment grounding conductor terminated within. 1706 Bonding of service equipment. The normally non-current carrying metal parts of equipment indicated in 1 and 2 below shall be bonded together. 1. All raceways, cable trays, cable bus framework, auxiliary gutters or service cable armor or sheaths that enclose, contain, or support service conductors. 2. All enclosures containing service conductors, including metering equipment, boxes, or the like, introduced in the service raceway or armor. 1706 One method of bonding at the service. Bonding jumpers meeting the requirements of the NEC shall be used around impaired connections, such as reducing washers or oversized, concentric, or eccentric knockouts. Standard lock nuts or bushings shall not be the only means for the bonding required by this section but shall be permitted to be installed to make a mechanical connection of the raceway, s. Electrical continuity at service equipment, service raceways, and other service conductor enclosures shall be ensured by one of the following methods. 1. Bonding equipment to the grounded service conductor in a manner permitted by the NEC. 2. Connections utilizing threaded couplings or threaded hubs on enclosures where made up wrench tight. 3. Threadless couplings and connectors where made up wrench tight for metal raceways. 4. Other listed devices, such as bonding type lock nuts, bushings, or bushings with bonding jumpers. Exception 1. CPS Energy requires the bonding of single-position, self-contained meter sockets in accordance with method 1, described above. Exception 2. On all other metering and instrument transformer enclosures, customer shall be responsible for this bonding requirement, but shall not use bushings or other listed devices that utilize bonding jumpers for accomplishing the required bonding of this equipment. 1707 Bonding for other systems, inter-system bonding. The inter-system bonding termination for connecting inter-system bonding and grounding conductors required for other systems such as cable TV, telephone, etc. shall be provided external to enclosures at the service equipment and at the disconnecting means for any additional buildings or structures. Exception: such termination devices shall not be installed in or on any metering or instrument transformer enclosures. 1708 Grounding of CPS Energy service drops and laterals. CPS Energy will ground its service drops and service laterals at the source of supply. This ground shall not serve as customer's grounding source. On overhead or underground services, customer shall not extend their equipment grounding conductor back to the source of supply, CPS Energy transformer terminals. See the following figures or tables in the specification manual. Figure 1701 Typical grounding electrode system for single-phase overhead service.